A motorcycle with 3 different ABS modes, traction control which you can switch off, and wheelies that you can easily pull off. No, contrary to what you're thinking, I'm not talking about a super expensive superbike. No, I'm talking about a very budget-conscious Pulsar N250, which has been updated in 2024 and is possibly the best offering in this price bracket. Now, one of the first changes that you will notice is with the paint scheme. While the overall design remains the same as the original model, and this is a good looking motorcycle, you can ask my colleagues, they are going to testify to that. But the graphics on this, you see these patterns here, these are new, adding a small hint of freshness to the motorcycle. Now, some people, they think the graphics are a little overdone, some think that they bring in a nice variation to the surfaces. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, you get the same kit. You have an LED projector headlamp, which is, well, okay, it's better than some of the motorcycles I have ridden in previous times, but it still could be better. The tail lamp looks very nice in this unique split design. And now there is another change, which is the tire size. So you still get 17-inch wheels, but the rubber on them is wider. At the front, you get 110 by 70 instead of 100 by 80, and at the rear you get a 140. So talking about the grip, I'll come to that later on, but in terms of making the bike look proportionate, they do a good job, and everything feels like it has been put together with some thought, and there are no panels which look cheaply made. Even the switchgear over here is pretty nice to touch and feel, and the switches work pretty decently. So that way, it is a well-made motorcycle, it's a good-looking motorcycle, and for the price, you definitely are getting something which you would love to see every single day in your garage. The next major change you will notice in this bike is this new instrument cluster. Now you have a fully digital negative LCD display, and I must say that I really like the design of this display. Yes, it looks a little basic, but the way all the information has been spread out is really nice. You will need about 2 to 3 minutes to fully see where everything is, but once you get the hang of it, you can easily gauge all the information at a quick glance, which is very good and a hint of good design. And you see a lot of readings here, including 2 trip meters, your odometer, speed, the gear that you are in, the RPM of the engine, fuel level, distance to empty, all those readings are there. And it also shows you your instantaneous fuel economy as well as the average fuel economy in trip A and trip B. But another big change that you will see now is that it supports Bluetooth connectivity. There is an app which you can use and then pair it to the motorcycle, which gives you access to turn-by-turn navigation, and you can even accept or reject calls using this button right here. So if you get a call while the phone is connected, you press it once and it will accept the call, which is a great functionality, and I've been using it since morning. The turn-by-turn navigation itself works pretty fine. You just have to be used to using that kind of navigation system.
Now, I do think that the navigation through the instrument cluster menu would be a lot simpler if there was a separate button to cycle between the various metrics seen on the instrument cluster, and the ABS modes button was only used for that functionality and taking calls.
So yeah, this instrument cluster is definitely an update over the previous one. A part of me will miss the analog dial because I am that old school kind of guy who loves slight hints of old technology. But I think functionally and even visually, this is a very good unit and a nice improvement. The engine that you see here is the same 250cc single cylinder unit that used to come in the bike previously. There have been no changes in the state of tune. It still produces about 24 bhp and 21.5 Newton meters. And this is a very mid-friendly engine, which means that you have a lot of torque in the mid-ranges, and overtaking on this motorcycle is super easy. You rarely have to shift down a gear. It's just that the first gear is a little short, and I do think that with the update, Bajaj could have introduced a 6-speed gearbox with the motorcycle, which would have given it longer legs on the highway. Yes, it still does triple-digit speeds with ease, and I am 65 kilograms, and this bike with my weight was easily able to go beyond 100 kmph, and it was still climbing at a fairly spirited pace. And this is also a very smooth engine, because when you are between 3 to 5,000 RPM, there are very few vibrations that you will notice, and once you do go higher, you will notice vibrations coming from the handlebar and from the seat, but that usually happens when you cross about 6,000 RPM. Now that's the old stuff, but what is new? Well, you now get 3 different ABS modes. So you have road, which is your usual normal ABS setting. Then you have rain, which tightens up the ABS response so that you have less chance of slipping when you're riding in wet conditions when you use the rear brake.
And the off-road mode being the least intrusive. So if you want to have a little bit of fun, then you can put it in the off-road mode, but it still does not completely switch off the ABS on the rear brakes. Also new to the N250 is a traction control system, making this the first Pulsar to come with this technology. So if you're riding on loose surfaces, then the traction control can come in handy and save you from some embarrassing wheel slips.
Now, while you do have 3 different ABS modes, the response from the rear brake is not too sharp, and even in the rain setting when I was braking hard, it took a long while before the ABS had to kick in, because the response from the brake itself is so weak, and I was mostly using the front brake, which delivered good bite and had decent feel, I would say, for this class of performance. Another big change on the 2024 N250 is the presence of upside down forks, which not only look good but also change the dynamics of the motorcycle, along with a slightly shorter wheelbase and 2 kilograms heavier curb weight. Now, the suspension tuning, well, Bajaj really needs to rein themselves in with the suspension tuning, because right now it is pretty stiff. So when you go over any kind of bumps at, say, speeds of 30 kmph or above, you will feel it. The rear especially is even stiffer than the front, so that does make the ride over bad roads not so great. The ride quality on normal roads is pretty fantastic. I had no problem with the bike, and even while doing triple-digit speeds, I was fairly confident. But yeah, the response over broken tarmac, which is easily found on city roads, that could have been slightly better, considering that even though this is a 250cc slightly sporty motorcycle, it is going to be used in city commute as mostly a commuter. So I think a slightly softer setting would do well for this motorcycle. Now for the tires, they also do a pretty good job as long as you are riding in a civil manner. The moment you start pushing it, yes, they are wider than before, but it is still easy to find the edge wherein you cannot push any more, or else you risk some funny stuff happening. Let's put it that way. You can easily find many motorcycles on the market today which have more performance, which are more engaging to ride, have better specs, but usually with performance, practicality does not always follow. But that is not the case with the N250. This is where it shines, because you saw how it performs, but it also is great if you want to have a pillion with you, because the seat right here is very spacious. I had my colleague sit on the seat and we had no trouble while riding around. It is a little stiff, the cushion itself is a little stiff, but otherwise it's not uncomfortable to be on this part of the motorcycle. And for the rider itself, yes, the seat height has gone up by 5 mm, but that does not do much in terms of changing the ergonomics. I can easily place my feet on the ground. I'm 6 feet tall, and while riding, well, the position of the foot peg is pretty much perfect. It does not stress your body at all. The handlebars, they have been curved quite uniquely, and reaching them is not too difficult. I have done about 150 kilometers since morning, and at no point did I feel tired or fatigued while riding, even though it's been pretty hot in Delhi today. So ergonomics wise, this is pretty sorted, and I really love the fact that the tank has been designed in such a way that you can easily grip it with Here is a sign of a good motorcycle. The N250 kind of sits alone in its territory. The only direct comparison you can make is the Gixxer 250, which is also about 30,000 rupees more than this motorcycle. Yes, for that money you get more power and extra gear. So I would put these two motorcycles kind of in the same league when it comes to value for money. And similarly, you can get motorcycles which are slightly cheaper but with less power and less features. So looks like Bajaj has done Bajaj things once again. They have produced a great motorcycle, added some very nice features, but paired it with even greater pricing. This one costs about one pizza more than the outgoing model. It has been priced at 1.51 lakh ex-showroom. So it's not too costly compared to the model it is replacing. It looks good, it rides well, and now you can even brag about having different ABS modes. So that ways, this is going to be a pretty enticing product in the market. What do you think of the motorcycle? Let us know in the comments down below. If you have any questions related to it, again, you can put them in the comments. We will try to answer them. Make sure that you like this video if you liked our content and our effort with the motorcycle. And of course, make sure that you are subscribed to our channel with the bell icon pressed so that you are notified every time we upload a new video. For now, this is Aakash Paul signing off, hoping that you follow all the rules of the land when you are out on a motorcycle or a car. Bye-bye.